But, said Sam, and tears started in his eyes, I thought you were going to enjoy the Shire too, for years and years, after all you have done.
So I thought too, once. But I have been too deeply hurt, Sam. I tried to save the Shire, and it has been saved, but not for me. It must often be so, Sam. When things are in danger, someone has to give them up, lose them, so that others may keep them. From Return of the King, by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Welcome to Fandom Schmandom, the fandom podcast that covers everything you love and more. I'm Sierra Obermark.
And I'm Sam Williams. Today's episode, we will be condescendingly conniving about Stranger Things Season 5, Episodes 1 through 4. So a spoiler warning for you all. We will be talking about everything to do with Stranger Things. That includes all previous seasons, the play, and the first 4 episodes of Season 5. Keep your finger on the pause button and rewind that tape. It's the prestige category. What did we notice through our first watch through? Okay, so we're going to separate this into 4 categories, essentially. Biggest reactions, what we got right, what we got wrong, and biggest questions. Biggest reactions, episode 1. Sierra, take it away.
Yes, Vecna took Will, confirmed. Not physically, but on his orders. It's the same.
Yes, it's
matters.
The same.
That end result, same thing. Vecna wanted Will. He took him. Confirmed immediately. The excitement that I had was palpable.
It's a great first 4 or 5 minutes. It's awesome. Will is a little bit like superhero-esque at the beginning. The way that he's like jumping from trees and everything. I wonder if that backpack will be found. It like ostensibly is still up in the tree.
Yeah, potentially. That could be an interesting little tidbit for sure. All right, and the next thing. I told you that Holly is important. I told you all of you.
If you
I said it, and I said it again.
You would know.
Exactly. I said it, and I said it again, and then I said it a third time. She's gonna be important. There's something going on with her. Yes!
So, we'll go over a lot of this, but essentially, Holly has an imaginary friend named Mr. Whatsit. Also, Holly is possessed by Vecna. We know this because Will sees through her eyes as she's spinning round and round and round. And then she's targeted by Vecna, taken by Vecna, and is in some really quite lovely place that's the Upside Down, but then her mind is in this other world. We'll get to that too. I have honorable mentions for other biggest reactions, since those are definitely the 2. Honorable mention to Jake the Snake. Cue the Obermark.
Dun dun dun.
I mentioned Jake the Snake because, first of all, there was a visceral reaction to Dustin being so, like, desolate and depressed and everyone has a right to go through all of their emotions, but, like, from a show standpoint, I'm like, oh my gosh, Dusty, what has happened to you? Who hurt you? Oh no, I know who hurt you. Demobats hurt you. But it's a really, like, hard watch for me to see Dustin go through all of this and to have Mike and company like talking behind his back and trying to cover it up when he comes over. And I get all their points, but I'm definitely team Dustin here while he's trying to protect Eddie's legacy and always push for what's right. So that whole scene with, first of all, I will say, Dustin, leave the snake. You don't need to get the snake involved. Like, this is kind of on you. Like, it is on them for killing him, but, like, you got the snake involved without its consent. Just leave it there. It wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
But then to have it beheaded and used its blood to write something disparaging about Eddie is really awful.
So horrible.
I have
Yeah.
Go for it. No, keep going.
Sorry, I got another visceral reaction while thinking about it.
Yeah.
It just, ugh. Makes for great audio content. My, like, shudder.
Yeah, very much so. An honorable mention to Rockin' Robin and Steve with the rubber chicken. What a great job for Robin. What an awesome job she's doing. What a great job Steve is doing as her, like, disc jockey assistant. I think this is a fabulous little storyline, and I was here for it from the start.
Yeah, it's definitely very fun. Brings levity into the more dire situations that we're in throughout the rest of all of the episodes. We get a little bit of a moment of, oh, right, we can have fun here.
Can we? I guess. One more honorable mention. Just the crawl. The fact that they've been doing these.
Oh, so cool.
So dope. Very video game-esque, too, especially with the back and forth between Mike, suddenly cool character, and Nancy, always been a cool character, as they give the lowdown of what they're doing in their two different spots. They've really got this system down very well. It's just been really cool to see all of the things that they've been doing in between seasons 4 and 5. Really, just like such a neat experience sitting through all of that and going, oh, this is what they've been doing. Here's how they do it. What ingenious people these guys are.
With all the different roles that each character has, everybody's involved. Everybody's vital to getting the crawl off the ground and being able to have it work successfully. And they really, have figured out a system. Everybody has their place. Everybody knows exactly what their marching orders are, and just the way that they all rely on each other as well is really great. Like, nobody is really taking an in-charge position just in terms of, like, pulling rank on anybody. I'm older or something like that. The only time that we see this is just Hopper not wanting Elle to go with him.
Totally.
Which is understandable, and also for different reasons than he doesn't think that she's capable.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. From episode 2, Ted Wheeler. My goodness. And is that Molly Weasley soundtrack? Wait, no, it's still Karen Wheeler. Yeah, it's Karen Wheeler. First of all, very bummed that we cut the adults we don't care about from our season 5 prediction section, because I did have both Wheeler parents on there. These two characters are, like, almost willfully ignorant at this point, choosing not to see what's going on. They're certainly obtuse when it comes to the upside down stuff, and just, like, have no understanding as to where their kids are at any point. Demogorgon comes to claim Holly for Vecna. Ted, no question, doesn't try and run, immediately starts attacking it with the golf club. Doesn't do very much damage, but good for Ted. Karen, on the other hand, gets like 9 licks in with her wine bottle before she is slashed, which is honestly super dope.
So this is like back in, was it season 2 or season 3?
Season 3. Because it's when Nancy's dealing with the awful journalist people.
Exactly. When she's, giving Nancy this whole speech about how you have to be strong and you have to still stand up for yourself, and where did I get my strength from? I got it from you, and we were kind of questioning.
Yeah, Nancy says that about her mom, right? Nancy says that about Karen. I got my strength from you, because Karen's like, I don't even know where you get your strength from, and Nancy's like, I got it from you, and then
we're like, show me the receipts. Apparently, we just needed to wait a little bit longer, because here are the receipts.
Nancy has future sight. The whole other opportunity of characters. It's now out there. It turns out, she does get it from Karen Wheeler. Good. Very, very good. I will say, it kind of feels cheap to have one in a coma and one in critical but stable condition. In terms of the parents. What do you mean by that? Well, the parents.
Oh.
Karen is awake and in stable condition, and Ted is in a coma. And I'm like, did the Demogorgon not eviscerate both of them? How is it that no death has happened?
To not have them dead, for sure. I definitely agree. I know that we need one of them alive to be able to say something about Holly, but the fact that neither of them are dead is absolutely wild.
Maybe the Duffer Brothers don't want to give Nancy and Mike like sort of additional we need to kill these people energy so that they're not focusing entirely too much on revenge for parents, but both parents being fine gives a little bit of a reprieve for those two characters. I just like, with the lack of death that has occurred in these 4 episodes,
it's a little bit difficult for me to get behind. I can see them not wanting to kind of go down the Disney main character.
Yeah.
Always
both
an orphan
dead.
Or
certainly
something like that. I can see why they don't want that as a kind of a forward backstory of Nancy and Mike, but at the same time, it does seem unrealistic, especially based on what we've seen Demogorgons do and people dying from less from a Demogorgon.
It feels a bit Star Warsy in that case, where it's like, Qui-Gon died from being stabbed in the gut. What is happening to all of these other gut-stabbed people that are living?
Qui-Gon gets stabbed in the gut. Darth Maul gets cut in half.
Still alive.
Still alive.
Anyways, okay. First of all, with these two characters and all of that stuff that's going on, it just, especially this like, get away from my daughter sort of moment that Karen Wheeler has with, that's just such an allusion to Molly Weasley's moment of protecting Ginny from Bellatrix in book 7. Either the Duffer Brothers have gone like gloves off with nerd references and just decided we're no longer in just the 80s and 70s. We're doing everything that we've ever loved that's giant nerddom. Or because we're in the late 80s, I'm starting to pick up stuff because this late 80s fandom was still very much around by the time that we were like 3, 4, 5 years old. But there's some really big references to other franchises. So, A Wrinkle in Time, we will cover much later. Superman references, right? Red shorts for Elle and constant references to Kryptonite. And then I was like, does that mean everyone could be sorted into the Justice League? And I was like, okay, Will is the Martian Manhunter, and Dustin is Batman, and Steve is Robin, and Robin is Oracle, and Nancy is Wonder Woman because she gets to the truth, and Lucas is Green Arrow because of shooty things, and Mike, and then I couldn't place Mike anywhere, and I was like, this is stupid, I should stop doing this.
You got pretty far.
I did get pretty far, and then we ran into Mike, and I was like, okay.
Nah.
Harry Potter's a giantly referenced in all of this season. So there's the Mrs. Weasley, not my daughter, you bitch moment. And then, interestingly enough, I did some questioning on Reddit, and a Redditor pointed out to me that both of these moments of get away from my daughter and not my daughter, you bitch, are probably references to Alien, where the line is, get away from her, you bitch.
Right.
Holly and Mr. Whatsit is very coded in Ginny and her old friend Tom Riddle, aka Voldemort.
My good friend
Tom. My old friend Tom. That's from Binge Mode, which is a podcast that Sierra and I love, just to cite it. Will and Vecna's relationship, very coded in the Harry-Voldemort relationship. Speaking of that, Harry being the snake is very much Will being the Demogorgon. Goosebumps on the back of the neck is very much the scar. I reached out on Reddit, where a bunch of different Redditors said back to me that Steve sort of driving the car into the column with a closing portal is very like 9 3/4 coded. The Byers and the Wheelers waking up and having breakfast is very much like, feel like Harry and the Burrow. But then this one I think really sticks. It's Hopper. He says always, like just that line, to Elle. And that was like, oh my gosh, it's Snape. This is Severus Snape. What is happening? So, that's the Harry Potter stuff. Of course, there's the great Scott and Flux capacitor stuff from Robin to Joyce. D&D obviously
so good.
Referenced quite a bit. Dustin's speech before he uses Turpentine to attack the basketball burrows is like actual D&D stuff that literally happens in the game. And there's just a fun note here. Lucas goes and says, this is very Mission Impossible. And I'm sure a bunch of people were like, that's wrong. Mission Impossible doesn't come out till 1996, not 86. but there was a 1966 show that ran for 7 seasons called Mission: Impossible. So everybody just chill out. Lucas has just watched some good TV. Moving on to episode 3, you and I had the same thing, which is...
Yes. Max returns. She's back.
Yes.
So good. So, Max is back. Kind of. But she's back. And I kind of love it more than if she woke up.
Yeah.
Because this is fascinating. We get to see inside of Vecna's mind in a way that we haven't seen before, in his memories, which he's always digging around in other people's memories. So it's about time that someone started digging around in his memories.
Yeah.
Just saying. And Max has found a whole bunch of stuff. There was so much information dropped when she's doing her little rundown for Holly. And it's amazing.
It's so
and
good.
It's really great.
It's
so
good.
Exciting.
It's really good. It's really, really good. And just the fact that
she's even more of like Mad Max than she was before.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Part of me is like, where did you get these different clothes? But I don't really care. I'm just glad that Max is back, has returned, is in like this very guiding sort of mentor scenario where she's thinking things through. And it was really cool to have that connection point with Holly. I will say, I feel very proud of myself. I clocked it instantly. As soon as we were in that world, I said to my wife, Holly's going to meet Max in here. And then when we saw that torn, patched jean, I went, that's Max.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was great.
That's when I got it, but I did not clock it beforehand.
I didn't
think they were going to end up being in the same place. I figured that they were dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was going to be one location where they could reach each other.
That'd be great.
I thought it was going to be more of like a Jin situation where they're each in their own individual happy
pods,
places
basically.
And memories and things. Exactly. But I did not think that they were going to merge together. So it's very exciting.
Very exciting. Very glad she's here.
And I do think, I was actually just thinking, the way that Max sits down and kind of explains things to Holly really brought me back to the end of season 4 when they're prepping for the plan.
Yeah.
And she's sitting with Nancy. And Nancy is kind of explaining things and is the older sister version.
Very much so.
And kind of just discussing with her. And we don't really get Nancy and Max before this. And so now it's this kind of really nice moment. And now we're getting this. Max is almost taking on the Nancy role for Holly. And I really liked that parallel.
Very much so.
Episode 4. All right. The whole bad side of the military, as we've been dubbing them here, they are suffering from the same thing that Jason suffered from last season, which is way too much confidence and not enough intelligence.
What do we call it? The Donning-Kruger effect, right?
Me. Yes. Yeah. And it bothers me so much every time they're going, well, Elle is clearly doing this. What?
What indeed?
There couldn't possibly be any other explanation. No. Oh no. There's only one person with powers out there. Clearly. We don't have another one stashed away over here. Do not look behind the curtain.
It's stupid. It's really stupid. And part of me is wondering if Dr. K is actually going to be on Elle's side. The monologue that she has with Elle while Elle is incapacitated made me go, there's just enough room here for Dr. K to be like, all right, so how do we defeat Henry? We'll see. It's clearly everybody else is not on her side, but I'm still kind of holding on to this idea that Dr. K might actually be a little bit more Sam Owens, Bob Newby help on the outside.
I am not convinced.
Fair.
I think she's just another Brenner, and she is just gonna use who she wants for whatever she wants to use them for.
She's
Plus,
clearly using
everybody else
nefariously.
Oh yeah. So I do not put it past her to do the same thing again.
Yeah.
And she's even using the tentacles or the vines or whatever for her own
Yeah.
And she was referring to it as like a singular entity.
Right.
Like it
As a creature.
detects you as a threat, and it is this creature and things like that, which I found very interesting.
Totally. Speaking of
But,
8,
yeah.
honorable mention to there.
Yes.
8 being behind the kryptonite cell. I will say, as soon as Elle was like, I can't go back there, there's kryptonite, my wife went, 8's behind there, and I went, dang it, you're so right.
Yep.
But she clocked it just before I did, so I'll bow down to my wife there.
I also
fascinating.
clocked it. Yeah, I also clocked it right at that moment too. And then I immediately texted and was like, we find out who it is in this episode, right?
You did.
Because you'd finished
In the
it
group
just
chat.
before I did. You're like, yes, you do. I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah, Aurelia watched it before either of us, and then you and I finally got there. Oh my gosh! I will say my biggest moment in this episode is Demogorgons lifting up into the air. As soon as they lifted up into the air, I said out loud, oh my gosh, he literally is Vecna. He's going to Vecna these Demogorgons. And my wife was like, and then he did it, and it was just like, oh, okay, so he literally is the Eye of Vecna, which takes on Vecna's abilities. They did that whole thing where Will is first seeing the Demogorgon through the eyes of the Demogorgon, and they go literally through his eye, and it's like, okay, he's the Eye of Vecna. Yeah. We know this is coming now. It's essentially all but been confirmed. And he has the same powers. I will note here, much less gross when it's the demos who get arm, leg, eyes, and then dead.
Yep. Yes.
Though, because they don't have eyes, I did kind of want their little flower thing to implode inside their face.
Something to happen, yeah. And I also the entire Will sequence leading up to that as well, not just love is more powerful, which we've been kind of getting hints of with Elle.
Yeah.
But love of yourself and acceptance of yourself.
Being
which
freeing.
Is wonderful. And, Will's been chasing the love of others and Mike and his friends and other people. And finally, he's kind of forced to own up to who he is.
Yeah.
And accept himself for who he is, no matter how difficult. And that is twofold, but it also gives him power over himself and access to the powers within, powers without, powers, the powers that he can access.
Yeah.
Whether he will still have them after Vecna is
right. Is this a
dead?
Parseltongue situation? Is this a Parseltongue situation where
exactly.
Harry can speak to snakes when the Horcrux is in him, and Harry cannot speak to Snake as soon as the Horcrux is destroyed? We shall see.
Right. Then we shall see. Then we shall know.
That's a great. Just now go on to next category.
Yep.
That's a great one.
Here's the things that we were wrong about, guys. We don't claim to know everything. We were wrong.
We were.
About a few things.
A few things.
We were right about a lot more, but we were wrong about a few things. We'll tell you what those are. The first being death in general. So far, guys, there's been a lot of unnamed death.
Couple of military people. A lot of military people. Let's be clear.
A lot of military people.
One of them,
but I will say,
them who got Dwayne Wade to LeBron James alley-ooped into the ground.
Yes. So death in general, though, we haven't had any major deaths.
No. None.
At all.
Ted Wheeler is the closest. Who I will say, I laughed really hard when they were like, okay, in the first Shadow, Karen and Ted go to high school together in the play. But earlier, Mike has this whole speech about my mom married an older guy with money and now she's just miserable. And so they kind of retconned his age. So instead of just saying that he's 46 years old, they were like, Karen Wheeler, 46, Ted Wheeler, late 40s.
So funny.
We'll just dip around that one.
Just casually sidestep that.
Yeah, there's been no major deaths. I was very wrong about when there's this still image that we were looking at of now we know in the Max Zone, there was this giant fight at the very end of the last episode, and we thought this girl was Susie, just looking real different. It turned out she's like a middle schooler or an elementary schooler, because Holly's like at best 7 years old if you're looking at season 1. Mm-hmm. But apparently a bunch of reporting has said that she's 10 years old. So either way, they're probably still in elementary school.
Yeah.
None of them look it, because they aged up the actresses a lot. Like the actress who plays Holly is what is her name?
14, I think.
Nell Fisher. She's 13 when she started filming, 14 now, I think. So, okay. But we thought that was Susie, and it's just one of these little kids in her class. That's fine. It actually makes sense that Susie's not there. And the quarantine, I love it. Why are all of these characters here? Fantastic. There has been a quarantine set down. However, that does mean that we were wrong about Enzo and Yuri being there. So my whole big prediction about Murray and Yuri will die together at the end of this 4th episode, very wrong.
Dun, dun, dun.
Although we almost did get some big deaths again. We'll cover those in a second. Also, I will say, for those of you who are parsing, Vecna, I did say Vecna specifically took Will. Mm-hmm. He did not. It was a Demogorgon. Though he was present that night, so I still count it as a win. But, and this is stealing a bit from the biggest question section, Sierra. How do Demogorgons open their own portals? This is so frustrating from a show standpoint.
It's very frustrating.
It's clocked in the back of my head, jammed in there, and every time they do it, I'm like, but how? Vecna says he didn't have the power to do it himself. He had to go find El. So it's not like the Mind Flayer could do it, or else it already would have. And the Demogorgons can do it, but only, I guess the gate has to be open, and then they can do it, but Vecna still can't, so I just don't understand.
Yeah. More explanation needed, for sure.
Please.
Something else that we were wrong about, Max opening her eyes in dramatic fashion at the end of episode 4.
Aurelia! You were wrong!
You were wrong, sorry. But also, potentially TBD. She could still open her eyes in dramatic fashion at the end of a different episode. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
But this is way better than her being unconscious the whole time and thus just waiting for her to come back. So
yeah, this is sweet.
I will accept it.
I will also accept it. Things we were right about. Well, Aurelia, I just called you out for being wrong. So, dear executive producer, take this as an olive branch. Aurelia, super right about both Will and Robin getting together, but also being right that they deserve to be together. So, Aurelia, I think something along the line said, I want a queer moment here. So they are correct in all manner. Like,
yes,
that chemistry, brilliant, good, and also essential to the main plot, which we will discuss in our MVP discussion. I will note here, Vecna did take Will for a specific reason, so yes, still claiming it. Still claiming that Will is the Eye of Vecna and has powers super duper the main thing that I was up on. There are so many receipts for that I'm not going to bother going through. Essentially, we knew that these powers were coming, so listeners, if you thought I was wrong, I will take carnival rides instead of flowers. Please send them to my address in Antarctica.
Please send circus tickets in lieu of chocolate.
But speaking of my biggest thing that I was clocking the whole time, Sierra, your biggest thing that you were clocking the whole time.
There is something up with Holly. I was right. I think
this is the like in all of our life, this is the biggest you've been right moment you've ever had.
I honestly, it's definitely, I can't think of anything else right now. It's pretty amazing.
Because I remember walking it being like, what's up with Holly? And then you like literally said it on the podcast and I was like, oh, that's a good note. And then we kept watching it and I was like, huh. And even Aurelia in our last one was like, this is something I didn't notice until you guys said it. And I'm like all credence to Sierra here. It's great.
And I do have righteous receipts. Yes, I do. Season 1. When in the Byer house, Holly goes wandering. She wanders into Will's room, and she sees the Demogorgon trying to come through the wall. Bonus, the episode title, Holly Jolly. Not two separate words. With a comma. Holly is jolly. Holly, comma, jolly. Boom. She makes minor appearances in season 2, but only really in kind of family scenes, so we'll skip those. Season 3 went on the Ferris wheel at the fair. Speaking of the fair, Holly sees the grossness itself, trampling through the woods on its way to Hopper's cabin.
That's the Mind Flayer meat form, for those of you who do not know. She sees it.
She sees it. She's the only one who sees it. She points it out to her parents, who once again are willfully ignorant about the giant thing wandering through the forest.
It's like their eyes and her finger are like the opposite of magnets, where she points and their eyes have to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Season 4. Holly lets Max use her crayons to see what she saw in Vecna's mind palace thing, and Dustin explains Freddy Krueger to her. Horrifying. But also, she kind of knows what this whole Vecna situation is already. She's sitting there at the table listening to this. Then, Holly's light bright is used to communicate with the Doobies in the Upside Down. And, at the end, Holly is the one to tell her mother that it's snowing.
Okay, so crazy cool thing about the fans out there. No one clocked Holly, really, in a way that went viral, in a way that got talked about a lot in this scene. Because everybody noticed when they do this montage of going between everybody that kind of knows about the Upside Down, they show Dustin, they show Steve and Robin, they show Elle separated out from the couples in the back, Mike and Will, Joyce and Hopper, and whoever the other two people are, Jonathan and Nancy. And then they show the snow at the Wheeler house and Holly looking out the window and saying, Mom, it's snowing, and Karen comes to the window. Now, everyone went, oh, maybe Karen does know about the Upside Down. What if Karen is Vecna's little sister? Huge fan theory. And I never really got any enjoyment out of it, but it was worth a ponder for a second, except for the fact that Karen is in the play as a separate character than Vecna's little sister.
And Vecna's little sister confirmed dead.
Confirmed dead. Also, but Holly is in that shot. So it turns out it wasn't Karen at all. It was Holly all along.
It was Holly all along. And Sierra was right. All along. I'll be smiling about this for days.
We were also right about 8 returning, which is great.
Yes.
We haven't seen anything to do with 8. We just saw 8 and them meet. That's cool. Little flashback to the Chicago episode in case people forgot who this was, because they shaved 8's head. So. Yeah. No longer big fluffy hair.
Yeah. And took all of her makeup off too.
Yeah, that's true.
And changed her clothes.
A lot of things. A lot of things are different about 8. She's much older. It's been like 8 years.
It's fine. We also got that the play is important.
Yes.
And that the contents should be in the season. And we get them. We get them. We get so many mentions of the contents of this, specifically in regards to Henry's time at school. We see young Joyce. She's talking about her play. We see that he is in said play.
Yep. And that play is set on November 6th, 1959. Again, these dates are all important and we're going to talk about them. I will say it was really fun to see that little moment of going back to it's very similar to the way that they set the play. Also, there's just been a couple of play references, like Squawk is the radio station is run by Bob Newby back in 1959. There's just a bunch of cool things that they did with this play. And of course, the cave, which we will get to the cave.
Yes. The military being wiped out.
Super right.
Sam, I think you called that one specifically.
That was me. Military's getting decimated at the end of episode 4.
Yep. And guess what?
Guess what happened?
Sure did.
Military decimated. Also, Sierra, you got this one right. Mike and Nancy spending some time together.
Yes.
And not
I'm
only
so happy.
were you right about it, you said it kind of needs to happen because it hasn't happened since season 2. And it turns out really needed. Not as much as Will and Robin, I will say, but like,
No.
dear Lord, having them come into the season as siblings, having something to fight for with their parents, being out,
Right.
them having to work together to go get information out of the mom and sneak around the hospital, all of that just is gorgeous.
It's so good. I really enjoy it. And I think it also makes so much sense because from early on, I think I even mentioned like Mike and Nancy are both very, very intelligent and like practical thinkers and have plans and plots and all these things coming from their parents who have shown no signs of any of this. And why are they not together forming these plans? They're
Right.
always separate. They're
And now they
always
are.
doing their own thing. And now they're together and we see the impact of that is pretty impressive.
Well-
because they're both very intelligent.
This whole Holly situation with, obviously is going to bring them together, and then of course their parents being
Right.
violently attacked, fighting for their lives, etc., also going to bring them together. But it feels very much like how the Weasley family in Harry Potter is this real family that we get touch points with, but they don't, other than Ginny in the chamber, but we don't see the whole family go through that,
Mhm.
with needing to be scared for Ginny. We only get to see the aftermath when
Right.
Harry has rescued her. So we only see Ron's reaction to losing Ginny. So, but it's not a family dynamic. In terms of parents, older siblings, everybody in the loop. We only see the Hogwarts reaction when Ginny is taken. But when the snake in Christmas time at Order of the Phoenix attacks Arthur, again, which is very reflected in Will seeing the Demogorgon coming for the Wheelers, is when we get a big sense of family dynamic. We're at the Grimmauld place with Sirius, with him having to calm down the family, the response of everyone going, seeing Arthur and everything. And that's kind of what this feels like, is look, here's Ginny. She's important, aka Holly. And
Right.
look, your parents are dying. How are you guys reacting as a family? And it really deepens this connection into the Wheeler household, which has been, like, Karen's been a main character, but off to the side.
Right.
Has had major scenes, but never really part of the main storyline.
Mhm.
Now it's all together, and it really helps to solidify the Wheelers as figures in this story with a deeper meaning than just like we're the people that help Eleven and figure stuff out. There's much more personal stakes for them now, which I think is one of the reasons why Mike is suddenly cool, and why Nancy has that blood scene of her washing off the blood is just super, like, the emotional resonance that comes from that sets the tone of the show, I think.
Yeah. I agree. And I also think that the connection between Nancy and Mike shows even before this shared trauma that they're experiencing now. Because when they get the news that there's going to be a crawl, they are each in charge, essentially, of disseminating the information to the rest of the group that they're with.
Yeah.
And explaining the plan and going over the details and all of those things. And so they've really stepped up into these leadership roles. I still won't say that Mike is the heart, but he's definitely the mind at this point.
Yeah, totally.
Of the group. So I think it's very exciting to see also them have a lot more in common.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because Mike has also set up sort of the ending of this show, which is why we let off the podcast with a quote from Frodo. Because Mike, when he's talking to Eleven, she's like, what happens after we do all of this? And he says, I think we go somewhere else. I think, we save this area, but it's essentially, it's time to move on. And you and I are going to be together to do that, which is very much like let's sail to the Undying Lands together. It's super Frodo coded, but Mike might not have a partner to do that with. I have no idea if Elle's going to survive or not, so we'll see.
I may have to amend my Mike stays alive prediction. He and Elle and Will may all go out as a trio.
Maybe. You might be right.
Because I just think that if Will and Elle aren't around anymore, Mike's the glue that's held them together, and I think that he will also go.
Yeah, possibly. Well, last thing that we were right about, or I was right about at least, I did say, I think Max might be stuck inside Vecna's mind because he absorbs people. Mm-hmm. Boy, was that right.
Yeah.
I felt good about that one. So stealing from our viewing views when we do movies, here's our category for questions. Questions that need answering. Thanks, Gandalf. Gandalf, what are the biggest questions that we have? And I'm not going to attempt to do a Gandalf voice. Okay. So this question is mainly for in case anybody has the audience, which is like, what's the timeline between seasons 4 and 5? It's been 600 days since season 4, or 587 days to be precise. We know that Eddie dies March 27th of 1986. That's the day that Vecna gets flambéed. That's the day Max is killed, opening up the gate. And we know, for Lucas tells us it's November 3rd, 1987.
Yeah, I was expecting weeks, maybe months to have gone by between seasons 4 and 5. So this length of time is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it was reported that Netflix or the Duffer Brothers or somebody said, we're going to be picking up right where we left off, which is...
Exactly.
Which is why people were like, Argyle's not here? What's happening? Now, there's an article, I forget which one it was in, whether it was Variety or The Times or something, but somebody reported that because of COVID delays, the Duffer Brothers got to write much of season 5 before season 4 was shot at all. And it was actually really annoying to the stage director for the play because they kept going back and changing stuff while this guy was trying to do rehearsals and get the play off the road. But that's neither here nor there. So it is interesting that even right after season 4, they were like, yep, we'll be picking up right off. And then they still had to do this change where it's 587 days later. So what's been going on? Well, first of all, on November 3rd, that means, as Lucas tells us, we are 3 days away from November 6th, which is the 4-year anniversary of Will being taken, and also the 28th anniversary of the night Henry Creel, aka Vecna, starred in Joyce's play and finally gave fully into the Mind Flayer's influence back in 1959. And I bet anything that November 6th of 1958 is when Vecna first meets the Mind Flayer. More on that later. So nearly 600 days since all of that has occurred, and Rockin' Robin has been running the radio show Squawk for 500 days, which I gotta say, well done getting it up and running in 87 days. Previous disc jockey Fled Hawkins when the portal opened. Also, note, I think season 5, episode 5 of Stranger Things, the first one of volume 2, is called The Disc Jockey. Very scared for Robin. Joyce and the Byers have been living with the Wheelers the whole time. Hopper has been living in the tunnel / his cabin. I gotta say right here, Sierra, is his cabin unplottable? What?
He
How
must
has the
just
military
have
not
it.
found his cabin?
He must just have it, and it's like not in his name or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was kind of secret, but then Sam Owens people all could drive straight up to it. So you'd think that the other half of the military would have found out by this point, but whatever.
Maybe every time they go, it's empty.
They've done 36 crawls into the Upside Down. Robin graduated high school. Mike and company are juniors. Elle's been training at a junkyard. And otherwise, they've been told to keep a low profile. Looking at you, Dustin. So here's my big question for you, Sierra. Is what Dustin's doing in Eddie's name selfish, as Mike and company sort of make it seem?
I don't necessarily think that it's selfish. I think it could be a little extreme because he's not just trying to keep Hellfire going, not just saying you guys are wrong about Eddie. He was really a good person, things like that. He's very much just turning into Eddie and pushing it in everybody's face, which I think is a little bit more inflammatory than he needs to be.
Yeah.
I get that he's in a lot of pain and he's really going through it, but I think that the better use of Eddie's memory is to do what Eddie asked of him, which is to find the flock and to guide them and all of those things instead of whatever he's doing, which is antagonizing the jocks and being upfront and not with anybody. And where's all the rest of the Hellfire people? And it doesn't seem like it's not in his self-interest It's also not in anybody else's self-interest. It just feels very, self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to get bullied. He knows he's going to get attacked for wearing the shirt, for doing the things that he's doing, for saying the things that he says, for looking the way that he's looking. He's grown his hair out. He's wearing Eddie's rings or similar ones.
Yeah.
He's dressing like Eddie. He's got the whole persona going. And it's definitely a cry for help. And it's definitely a form of almost self-harm, really.
There's a bit of that, certainly. I'm a little bit on Dustin's side when he says, like, they tell him, hey, just ignore them, stop antagonizing them, move on, because we gotta make sure we stay ready for the fight, because that's the bigger picture.
Right.
I'm like, they're not wrong about that, but I'm also a little bit on Team Dustin, where I'm like, we've never been like that. We've always been the people to stand up. And I'm like, yeah, dude,
right.
sing your song, man. So I feel a lot of sympathy. Although, the bigger fight is Vecna. The bullies can take care of him later. It's not a big deal enough to do it now. But also, Dustin clearly has a wonderful relationship with Eddie. That's very clear in the book about Eddie. And he's the one that has been most hurt. And I feel like the other people are doing a bad job trying to help him rather than just being like, he's lost his mind. Like, his friends are not really supporting him in that. And he and Steve are on the outs too, and I feel like there's a lot of looking in Steve needs to do on that relationship as well. Dustin lost somebody that he absolutely loves. Dustin doesn't have a dad. And Eddie was like one just as much as you, Steve, and you need to cool it on your tone too, man. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I think Steve is... I don't understand him this season, I gotta say.
Yeah, he's very... I think he's just really caught up in Nancy. His focus is Nancy, and that's it. And you know what it's like when you have a crush that big, you really do somewhat. And especially like quarantine, and these are the only people and you're around her every day, like, and she's with this other guy. Ugh. I gotta say, not a big fan of that storyline or what Jonathan's up to in this season. Steve's persona is like very solely focused. It's a little weird. I'm hoping for more in the second volume.
Mm-hmm.
Another question that needs answering. Is Dustin going to die? And I'll give you 3 quotes that made me be like, harbingers of his death. Quote, I want to see Vecna's heart on a platter. Uh-oh. Oh no. Anybody that solely focused on killing has always not gotten up to any good.
Mm-hmm.
Hellfire dies with you and it dies tonight. It makes me uncomfortable. And I won't always be around to solve your problem, Steve.
Mm-hmm. Yikes.
Yeah. I will say, I think that they're playing with us and that Dustin is going to survive, but that he is going to do something super reckless that will get somebody else killed. And that's what that photo of Steve hugging Dustin that you were commenting on last episode is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Holly's D&D class significant? Well, here's some answers, and then we'll speculate a little bit at the end of this. So from the Stranger Things wiki, with some explanations from the Phrasemaker, unless otherwise notated. 1983, it's a little different from the rest of the show. Mike is Teyer, but we don't know who that is. He's just the DM. Will is Will the Wise, and that's just an elf magic user. It's not labeled yet. Lucas is Sundar the Bold. He's a human knight. Dustin, best name, best class. He's Nog, a dwarf bard, which is wonderful. No notes. 1984, season 2, it's different. We now know that Teyer is a halfling paladin, which makes a lot of sense given that we had the whole Frodo speech from Mike earlier. A paladin is a holy knight bound by a sacred oath, often to help others and fight for order in the world. That seems very Mike-coded, does it not?
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
Will the Wise, but he's labeled as a cleric / magic user, which I find fascinating. So, in the first season, he's Will the Wise, and they refer to him a little bit as a wizard, but it's just like magic user. A wizard is a magic user who has to study in order to be able to use magic, making them wise and powerful. So he's called a wizard, but he's also a cleric. From D&D Beyond, clerics are intermediaries between the mortal world and the distant planes of the gods. As varied as the gods they serve, clerics strive to embody the handiwork of their deities. No ordinary priest, a cleric is imbued with divine magic. It makes a lot of sense for Will, who is serving the deity of Vecna and is the intermediary between the Upside Down and Vecna in Season 2, so that's fine for 1984. They will change his class again this season. More on that in a second. Lucas is Sundar the Bold still, but he's now a human ranger, aka like Aragorn, who's a ranger from the north. Aragorn also has a love that lasts through the war, even though everyone thinks that they'll, not end up together. So hopefully that is reflecting Max and Lucas. I can only hold out so much hope. And of course, a ranger is a classic archer. You think about all the water balloons, the fireworks, the slingshot gun. Skilled hunter and tracker who usually stays on the outskirts of civilizations and battles as well. Dustin is still Nog, still a dwarf bard. Bard is known for their charisma. It's Dustin in a nutshell. Quick notes here, just as a reminder, Max refers to herself as their Zoomer. I've not seen much super speed from Max, although I will say she did outrun Vecna when he's chasing her in his own mind, so that's good. And Erica introduces Lady Applejack, which is a half-elf rogue. And then there's Holly. Okay, Holly. Dubbed Holly the Heroic because Mike, although his character is much improved, his alliteration game is rather basic. Holly the Heroic is a cleric. This is what Will was in Season 2. Given the gift of magic from a god in order to heal and support others. Here's Sierra, what you were talking about with healing at the end of Season 4. Mm-hmm. This character that has been given to Holly, it says healing. And we know that Holly right now is being infected like Will was. So she's probably going to have powers, right?
Right.
Maybe she's going to have healing too. One important spell they can use is called Dimension Door, which was specifically touched on by Mike at this moment. The Dimension Door spell allows a cleric to teleport themselves and anyone with them to anywhere in existence that they can visualize within range. It seems things are shaping up for this to be what gets Holly and Max out of Henry's memory, bringing Holly back to her family and reawakening Max for the final battle. If this turns out to be true, then Holly the Heroic may just turn out to be one of the most important characters the entire season. That is from the Phrasemaker, so a very helpful note there.
Mike also says specifically that clerics, have divine powers, as we've said, but can protect against evil spirits as well.
Yeah.
And I think that we can potentially put the Mind Flayer in the evil spirit category. So potentially this amount of magic or powers that she is being imbued with may make her less susceptible to whatever the Mind Flayer is up to.
Bring us Yabba Baba. It's our Spirited Away category for what is an evil spirit. The Mind Flayer. I'm kidding. That's not an actual category. Please don't sue us. Very important, must not forget. Cleric has been removed from Will the Wise. Mike and Will specifically discuss him as a wizard, and then Mike says, you're more like a sorcerer. A sorcerer is a magic user who has the ability to use magic without any studying or forging of deals, as their powers are innate. Mike specifically says he is more like a sorcerer than a wizard because his powers are innate, not learned from books or studies. So, Sierra, what does this all mean for Holly?
I think that it means she is going to have the ability within her, once we get out of Vecna's continued mind memory palace, and she will have the ability to heal, the ability to get them out, the ability to potentially join the party in a more meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
And her powers are going to be innate, which makes me think that possibly she won't lose them.
Mm.
Her powers are described as coming from a divine being, which is different than how Mike had described Will's powers as being innate.
Yeah.
Because Will's powers and potentially Holly's are coming from the same source. Yeah. So this brings me back to, if Vecna is gone, but probably both of them will lose their abilities.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Fascinating. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens with Holly's character. Here's a two-parter for you, Sierra. Is the kidnapping of the Turnbow kid eerily similar to what Billy does with the adult napping of Heather's mom and dad in season 3. Drug family, take family away. That's the plan. Did they not just copy what the Mind Flayer makes Billy do?
I mean, a little bit, but they also they have the second part of the plan. It's just get the family away so they're not there for the real plan. It's not that getting them away is the main part of the plan.
That's true. Also, here's the second part. Is this kidnapping plan a good plan? Because it requires people not being blindfolded, and the kid got his blindfold off really easily.
I get why we had to have the Demogorgon turn around and come back, and we had to have a little bit more high stakes and have this kid actually fear for his life and understand that there is a monster after him so that he can join the group and whatnot. However, it did feel like, I'm sorry, but if they got the dosing right on the parents, I don't care how overweight this kid is, the dosing's gonna be adequate. I know that is kind of the undercurrent of what the insinuation is he ate 2 pieces, how is he awake? That's why he is still awake?
Yeah,
or why he has woken up?
Right.
His body has processed it faster or assimilated it in a different way because when you are dosing an elephant, per se, you need more than a mouse.
Right.
And they did, however, make the comment that this stuff is enough to knock out an elephant.
Right.
Robin says this when they are stealing it.
Right. Which is almost like, hey, that kid ate 2 pieces. We should be worrying about him dying, not him waking up.
Yes, exactly. So, and the Tina just gets a shot of it because there was so have another backup. I don't.
Yeah.
Hello. I don't know. I feel like the general idea is a decent plan, but I think that there's a lot of contrivances is not a word
for the plot.
Exactly.
There's some plot armor around the Demogorgon being able to be like, that kid just looked. I will say, I mean, it makes sense for the pacing of the story, for everybody coming back, etc. I feel like you could have zuzzed that out a little bit more to be a bit more believable, but we are parsing because we are deep diving, and that's okay. I will say, the entire rest of the plot, super cool. Big trap, although a chainsaw would not have cut through that floor like that.
Don't ruin Steve's dreams.
So, the trap door, the barbed wiring, the, flambeing, the shooting the tracker, super cool, brilliant. Really like that idea. Was really funny when Murray was like, that'll never work. And Nancy was like, shut up, or I will, aim for your gentleman's region, and I can hit a target no matter how small. Great Nancy line. So everything else cool, but that last part's a doozy for that plan. Sierra, what is this giant gate made of tendrils and pustules in the Upside Down? And did the Hawkins lab actually make it?
No idea.
Because Dustin
this is
says
one that I honestly have no insight on this one.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a very big question for me. No, I have no information. It's like branched out in a circle surrounding, and it seems to be, I guess, the barrier potentially between the Upside Down and Dimension X.
Maybe, and like Vecna's mind area, which
but I don't understand how that exists in the same plane.
The cave
that should be like a third plane.
Well, and it should be its own plane because we've seen Holly with the tube in her mouth in Dimension X somewhere / the Upside Down.
Right.
And so then she must be in a different plane, but it also looks very much like the cave that they're in. That wall system is also the same height as the gate. So there's a lot of questions around that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's a huge note. What is with all these Wrinkle in Time references? And what is this other world Holly and Max is in? So, Wrinkle in Time is my first big fandom book that I ever read. with magic systems and any of that stuff. Did you ever read it, Sierra?
I honestly don't know that I did. I might have read it as a kid. I have no memory of it, though.
It was like my sister's favorite book growing up, and I really enjoyed it as well. And then I read it a couple of years ago with my wife, and was like, yeah, this book still slaps. It's great. It's worth a read for everybody, even if it's just for like Stranger Things reasons that you want to know for more information. So here's A Wrinkle in Time SparkNotes simple first couple of sentences summary. A Wrinkle in Time is the story of Meg Murray, an adolescent girl who is transported on an adventure through time and space with her younger brother Charles Wallace and her friend Calvin O'Keefe to rescue Meg's father, a gifted scientist, from the evil forces that hold him prisoner on another planet. So it's kind of almost exactly what's going on with Holly and Max. So Holly calls this like mind palace prison of Vecna's Camazotz. She says specifically, like, it's like this dark planet that's under the control of it, which she explains as a giant, disembodied, evil brain. Here's the problem. Holly is by herself as Meg. There's no Calvin or Charles. In the book, Meg's dad gets taken prisoner on Camazotz, and all three of them have to save Dad, but also other things ensue, right? What happens to Charles? What happens to Calvin? I won't spoil the book as much as I can. Holly literally says that Max is like Meg's dad. And then she says, so Henry's kind of like it, and you're kind of like Meg's dad. But Sierra, here's my major theory. When you hear the words giant, disembodied, evil brain, who do you think of?
Mind Flayer.
Not Henry Creel. It's absolutely the Mind Flayer. So to me, Holly's getting close, but she's not on the money yet. Holly is Meg, certainly. But Max is going to end up being more like Charles or Calvin. So I'm going to guess that they're going to add another character. Like maybe someone's going to get Vecna in the main crew and join Max there. Or it's going to be like Derek or one of these kids to complete the trio. And that they'll save Meg's dad, which in this case is Henry Creel, who's the guy that's been taken over by the Mind Flayer. And they're going to save him, Meg's dad, from it, which I believe it is the Mind Flayer. Meg's dad is Henry. Now, here's the thing. If you really don't want spoilers to A Wrinkle in Time, skip this. Charles is Meg's little brother. Charles gets taken over by it as soon as they free the dad. I think this might be talking about the fact that Vecna's eye, if you have it for too long, corrupts you into being like Vecna. So this may be that Will turns and is now, overcome by the Mind Flayer. But we shall see. We shall see. Thoughts on any of that, Sierra?
I like this theory. I think it's very interesting. I guess we will see. There's a lot of illusions, which once the Duffer Brothers have put in enough illusions, you get to understand a little bit of where they're going. And so I feel like there's too much to ignore. So potentially following the plot a little bit more would make sense. However, they also like to take things and twist them. So it's possible that we think that this is where it's going, and then it goes in a completely different direction.
Don't ruin my dreams. Okay, so what is the significance of the cave that they're in? This is a direct reference to the play. I'd once again bet anything that this is the cave that little Henry Creel comes into contact with in Nevada that we hear about in First Shadow. You can see in the Boy Scout picture he's a happy, smiling kid, so he wasn't always evil.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's part of his memory. He refuses to go in it, and it has to be terrifying to him. And the cave is the only thing that fits that bill, that he would be so terrified of that he wouldn't even dare approach it. So it has to be that this is the cave where he comes in contact with the Mind Flayer.
His reaction as an adult hunting down Max and being so scared to go in there, I think is the biggest thing that has shown me that you and I are right. The Mind Flayer is actually in charge, not him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
I think this is also interesting. This is another Harry Potter reference, the cave in Voldemort's past that he hides one of his Horcrux in. as being, a super important thing. And Empire Strikes Back reference, right? The dark side cave that Luke kills the, force-generated Vader in, and then the helmet explodes and it's Luke inside the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So we know from the play, Foreshadow, that Dr. Brenner is trying to reach Dimension X to see what his father saw. A scientist defects, steals equipment, and hides in a cave. Henry comes into contact with equipment and is whisked off to Dimension X for 12 hours. This is when he meets the Mind Flayer. That's the giant evil voice in his head during the play, and this is when he first gets his powers. He becomes more evil after this occurrence. He becomes evil at all, let's be honest. He's not evil before that.
I think the biggest question, knowing all of this, though, is what does the Mind Flayer, or Vecna, want with these kids? Once they have more Vecnas, Wills, Hollies, etc., what are they going to do with them? They have a specific target list. He says he wants them because they're weak, they're easily molded. You can basically reform them in whatever image you want. And this is why he has collected all of these kids. But to what purpose? To be Brenner and recreate this? He doesn't have the motivation to reach Dimension X because he's there. So there just doesn't seem to be a clear end game of what exactly are they trying to accomplish here.
Well, and I wonder... I wonder if what the Mind Flayer wants and what Henry wants are two different things, and that the Mind Flayer is utilizing Henry's want to recreate the world to have powerful beings that do the right thing in his mind as a way of opening up a gate that the Mind Flayer can get through itself. Because, you look at Will's, finger painting, that he draws this huge thing with all the different spots for the kids to go. It's the Mind Flayer's right in it. It's there. So you're right. That's a huge question. I don't think we have any answers or clues yet.
Mm-mm.
Which is cool and also frustrating. So, here's another one. How is Max going to utilize Holly, and how will she escape back into her body versus how will Holly escape back into her body? Do you have an answer, Sierra?
I think it's going to come to this dimension door situation where they're going to be able to follow something through enough, and Holly's going to be able to keep the portal open to get them out. Now, I think the question is really, do they need to follow two separate things to get both of them out? Or can Holly jump through when Max jumps through? I think it's the latter. I think that once there's a portal out to the real world, you can go out to the real world. However, I think they're going to have to get Holly's body out of the Upside Down.
Yeah.
Potentially first. Now, there's also a possibility that Holly gets Max out, and then Max, then through whatever they've been through, knows where Holly's body is. And then they can go, and I'm assuming at that point they will also have the other kids there as well.
Yeah.
And they can go and rescue everybody together.
Yeah.
And so Max will be able to leave and go back to the right side up to then go back to the Upside Down, not Henry's Mind Palace, but the Upside Down, and rescue all of the kids and somehow free their minds. But I think that it's going to be a slightly different situation where they either have to kill Vecna first for the kids to all be released, or because Will didn't have to necessarily escape from some sort of something when he was being, turned using the gross tube situation.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what Holly's going through. So potentially once they remove that, again, I know I keep alluding to a djinn, but that's really what it makes me think of. When you detach from whatever the djinn is pumping into you, you wake up.
Right.
So if you're detached, then you'll be there. And so I think that that's potentially what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't want a spoiler from the trailer, skip ahead a little bit. In the trailer, one of the one scenes that we have not seen yet is Lucas holding Max's body in an elevator as demo dogs are running towards him. So I think that at some point Vecna's going to catch on to the fact that Max and Holly are together, and Vecna's going to try and kill Max's literal body to get her out of his head. But I think this cleric thing is all correct, right? With the dimension door being open. But I gotta say, Holly's in for a much ruder awakening being in Dimension X than Max is.
Yeah, definitely. If for continued further deep dive on that one, it is the image that they're using for episode 6 is Lucas holding Max, and the title is Escape from Camazotz.
Camazotz. Good. Well, that'll be fun. Good. Quick question here. Is Murray's character being utilized well?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. Some people are really upset that he seems to be sidelined, and I'm like, they need a smuggler.
He's doing his thing.
He's doing his thing. And also, unless he died in that truck accident. Yeah, exactly. And unless he died in that truck accident, he's gonna be with the main group starting now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it took an episode before Erica showed up this season. It took 2 episodes before Max showed up. Murray's been in all of them. He's had great moments. Leave him alone, people. Okay. Here's big theory time for Sierra and I. We have, like, essentially blacked out our theories from each other. So this will be the first time that we're hearing each other's theories. I'm very excited about this. It comes under the question, what is the big purpose of 8 being behind this kryptonite prison, and where is her character going from here? So my big theory goes back to a little something that we were talking about in season 4. I'll give you a little bit of what I've already said in the pod, and I'm going to add on. Season 4, in Eddie's campaign, where we first hear the name Vecna, only Erica, who's subbing in for Lucas, and Dustin are left. Dustin rolls an 11, obviously L. That's a miss, Eddie says. So 11 alone cannot kill Vecna. At the same time, Lucas, wearing a number 8, shoots the basketball and wins the basketball game. Fantastic. At that same moment, though, Erica rolls a d20 and gets a 20, which in D&D means no matter how hard the task is with any of your additional add-ons or modifiers, a 20 always means success. However, 11 plus 8 is 19, not 20. But Sierra, if you add 1, you get to 20. So I'm even more convinced that Henry Creel will turn against the Mind Flayer because of what's going on in Holly's and Mac's storyline, and will join 11 and 8 in order to kill the Mind Flayer, giving us 11 plus 8 plus 1, a d20 roll with those 3 characters.
Interesting.
It's the best theory in the whole world!
It's a pretty great theory. I do
Thank
really
you.
like it. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that all of the moments are there to make it clear. I don't disagree with it at all. I have a little bit of kind of crazy. I guess I went a little bit different with my what is 8's purpose theory. So the original purpose of her being there is specifically to combat 11 because all of her powers are mental and they tap into your own mind in a way that L's doesn't, in a way that Will's doesn't, etc. She is the only other one left living that we know of. And also, potentially, you know, cops may have caught up to her eventually. I'm sure we're going to find out a little bit more of what happened to her and how she ended up here. Military maybe tracked Elle's little journey when she found Callie in the first place. But what I think will happen from here, I think she is what you said. She is going to be vital to defeating the Mind Flayer or Vecna, whichever the big evil of this plot will be. I think that that is her main purpose. I think that 11 is going to teach her to use love because it's stronger than hate. Because Hallie taught 11 to use hate, and 11 is going to show her that the opposite is actually true.
Nice. Good. Love it.
Here's my really crazy out-of-the-box idea.
Give it to me.
Could she be a new love interest for Dustin? she's dark. He's really dark now too. It's probably why he and Susie potentially don't make sense anymore, because she's this very bright and bubbly and happy. Dusty Buns doesn't exist anymore.
No.
He does not exist. Dusty Buns is not there anymore. I think that it could be very interesting when 8 gets introduced to the rest of the crew, that Dustin maybe finds something in her that's very interesting. And because he's, a little researcher and likes to get more information on things and is kind of our plot guy on why certain things work, I think that maybe they could have a little bond of plotting and coming up with uses for her powers that work with whatever plot they're going to be creating towards the end of the season.
Totally.
Ugh, so that's my great. Out-of-the-box possibility.
I love it. I'm here for it. Callie and Dustin, let's go. Okay, here's another question. Are we headed for time travel? This is not something that either of us have really talked about. But it is a big theory that they're going to go back to either 1958 when Vecna meets the Mind Flayer and reset everything. And that's going to be why it's so sad, because Will and Mike and 11 and the whole crew doesn't meet. And because it changes the way that the play goes in 1959, everybody does different things. And it makes it so that the Mind Flayer never has contact. Some people think they're going to go back to November 6th, 1983, mainly because Lucas pointed out that date so specifically. So I asked Reddit about this situation, and Redditor Dagger Mastering wrote, I think they're setting up a Prisoner of Azkaban time travel thing. When I pressed for a little bit more info, they wrote, probably to 1983 rather than like 59 or something. The Upside Down is stuck or birthed or whatever on the day that Will went missing. The fact that Henry has a fearful memory of something to do with the canyon, Max and Holly being locked in some memory world, all of the clocks, grandfather clocks, etc., even the sound that occurs whenever Vecna is present resembles time slowing down. Defo, some time travel stuff coming. So, Sierra, what do you think? Time travel?
I don't think we're headed for time travel. I just think it's more of a reference to the memories, because we have a lot of, we're kind of going back in time anyway through his memories.
Yeah.
So I think that is more of what these things are referencing. And I think the clock is just because a clock is kind of an iconic thing that we get in an older house.
I thought that was all about he's coming. The time is coming, rather than we're going back in time.
Yeah.
I'll put it even stronger. Because we get the
stained glass all the time, too.
Yeah.
Well, we get the stained glass all the time, too, and so that doesn't really track. I think it's more just those iconic things that really bring you back to the Creel house.
Yeah. I'll put it even stronger than you did. I hope to God we don't do it.
Yeah, I really hope we don't.
Time travel, when that's what it's about, is awesome.
Yes.
Time travel introduced to a universe that has not done it, I feel like almost always is disappointing.
Yes.
Like, the only time that I've ever seen time travel done super well when it's been added in as an element is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, where that ending is just so brilliant. But it's also, you've been layered in that's a possibility with Hermione's whole storyline, and then it kind of like, oh, this is what's been going on. Here's a little mystery solved, and now it's a tool. But even then, it caused Rowling a huge problem. She wrote about it in one of her, outside materials, when she said, I maybe went into this too naively. Now, that's not her exact words, but the spirit of what she said. So, let's not do time travel, for God's sake, please.
Yeah, let's really not. We don't need it. There's way too much else going on, and we have way too many questions.
Totally.
Last question. Do we still think that Elle or Will go bad?
I think Will, unless they decide they realize that, oh, the Eye of Vecna is corrupting you. You've got to stop doing this. And then they let Elle sort of have the last giant fight. Or Elle and Callie and Henry have the last giant fight against the Mind Flayer. I think that Will may be going bad. And again, this is going back to what Noah Schnapp was saying about everyone's going to be devastated and it's going to be sad and all that sort of stuff. And what you were talking about last episode, Sierra.
Yeah.
So I think Will is definitely more on the likely side than 11 for me. I think I'm way less convinced with Elle at this point. She seems like a very straightforward superhero storyline at the moment with her and Hopper. And it's interesting, too, because is it weird, Sierra, that I do not care about her character nearly as much as everybody else?
I've felt the same way, to be honest.
Yeah. It's, okay, so...
People were putting out, like, little, not infographics, but little compilations of how I'll feel if these people die.
Yeah.
And going from, whatever, all the way to, if you kill him,
Steve.
we riot. Yes.
All the way to Steve.
All the way to Steve. So many people put Elle in this category of, I will be so traumatized, or it will be horrible, or I will really hate it if Elle dies. I kind of put her in the, oh no, bummer.
I put her in the, like, okay, yeah, I'm prepared for that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that seems right for her character.
Just because I don't know if it's just because we've dug so much into it that we're thinking of it more of like a logical, coming from it more logically than emotionally.
From a story standpoint. It is the curse of, the curse of being like really into analysis, is that you do end up ruining some of the like experience of just being the fan. So I hear that. But like, so here's my list right now of like characters I super duper care about, going all the way down to contempt. Characters that I super duper care about. Holly, Nancy, Mike suddenly, Will, Dustin, Steve, Robin, Hopper, Max, Lucas. All care about those. Medium care. Joyce and Jonathan this season, who've been kind of benched.
Yeah.
A little bit benched. Like, Jonathan is, I'm maybe going to get engaged, but also getting engaged in the middle of a terrible relationship is not the way to fix a relationship. So, and Joyce is very much like just helicopter parent, been relegated to helicopter parent status. So that's not great. And then I like medium care about Erica. I mean, I like really want her to survive and stuff, but I'm not absolutely devastated. Mild care for 11 and 8. Like, I have the same level of care for 11's storyline.
Yeah.
That I do for 8 right now. And maybe that'll zerp up a little bit. But like, I don't know. Actual contempt, I would say Dr. K, even with the possibility of her, in my mind, still maybe being good. She's the Major General, right? And also the military I have actual contempt for, especially Kay's mercenary group, the Wolf Pack. Those are the mercenaries that are specifically trying to capture Elle. They're in the sort of different military uniforms. So there's like the army, which you can see, and then there's the solid like olive green. That's her and her group. And then there's the mercenaries that's in a different color. That's the Wolf Pack. And those are the people that I just can't stand. So
this leads me to my reactions to the only deaths that we get.
Yeah.
Which was, yay, Demogorgons.
Hey, thanks. This is actually super helpful as long as, wait, no, you're going for Robin and Lucas and Will and Mike. Oh, okay, no, Will's got powers, so we're good. Oh, nice. Good job, Demogorgons. Wait, don't high five me. You'll slit me open.
Yeah, I very much was like, we're in a bad situation. Oh, the Demogorgons are arriving. Well, I guess the military is finally going to realize what the heck is going on. Oh, wait, but none of them will be alive to see it.
Dang it.
I was really hoping it would provide enough distraction for them to get away, though.
Yeah.
But I get it.
I get it, too.
Plot needs to plot. You know, you don't always have to face down a horde of angry soldiers by yourself. Buckle up, schmisseners. It's our Sansa is smarter than John category. What is the most important character moment? I have it as Holly accepting Max as Max and trusting her. I think this is going to have, like, huge consequences in Volume 2 in the finale. And I've also captured this in a quote. Would you live read this with me, Sierra? I would love to. I have notated yours in purple. So this is Max. Would a monster know that your brother tried to get a mohawk until your sister stopped him, saving him from possibly the greatest social humiliation that a freshman has ever experienced at Hawkins High? What color was this mohawk? Hot orange. So good. Did you have one? I did not have a separate one. I found that there was a lot of more lead-up character moments for me, so I didn't have too many that really stuck out. So this one was one of my short list of possibilities, because I do think that it's going to have lasting impact throughout the next few episodes. Awesome. And none of the other things, I think, were as important. in terms of like character development or plot reasons. However, I do think I want to give an honorable mention for, this isn't a specific, well, it is a specific moment. No, scratch all of that. I have a contender.
Okay.
I have a contender for this. Mike pushing the kids behind him and facing down a Demogorgon.
Okay. I'm glad that you talked about this because I was also very much on the edge of giving it to Mike for giving Holly the heroic to Holly and putting all of this ideas in her head that she's a cleric, which is also both hugely important for story reasons and also Mike hasn't had much. So yay, Mike, because he's been excellent. The way that he treats Holly, the way that he treats everybody around him, the leadership skills that he shows, and then this moment here.
Yes.
Where, that, it might be that one, Sierra, because it is a whole show's worth of Mike that has been on this podcast very much like, who the heck's this dude? Why is he the heart? What's going on? And then finally, he's dunking on us haters and going, look, I am capable of this. So I'll give it to you. Let's do that. Let's do that. It's Mike standing in the way, being the protector. It's just him between the Demogorgon. I like it. Let's do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Really impactful.
So I know that Mike thought he was just about to lose a hand, but listen up. It's the I am your father category for most iconic character moment. Now I've got it. There's no question it's this. It's the moment Dustin and Steve are sitting in the car and they're arguing and bickering as per usual. And Steve goes, "It's a good thing we're not too conspicuous." And they both look up as the camera pans up to reveal this huge satellite dish bolted to their car. It's funny, it's good, it's excellent. And Sierra, do you remember those old Disney movie, like, sort of reels where they do highlights from a bunch of their famous movies on VHS right before you'd actually start a Disney movie?
Yeah.
If Netflix ever did that, this would be the thing from Stranger Things that made it.
Oh my gosh. That would be so funny.
And I'm so right.
I think you're pretty right. Well, yes and no. I think if they went funny, yes.
They have to. You have to on those. You can't do scary in case little kids are watching.
No, it's not scary. You'd have Elle flipping the van. You just have the van flip.
Oh. No, it's this. Yeah. It's this. You might be right, but I'm going to stick to my guns.
So I have a contender here. It's also Steve.
Of course.
It's him driving through the gate.
Okay, both of these made it on the trailer, and both of them were exactly right for what they're trying to do.
Yes.
If Sierra, I gave you the last one. Out of the goodness of your heart, please do the same.
Fine, I will concede.
Yes. Excellent, thank you.
But now you need to sit down. Because it's time for our I Am Iron Man most iconic and most important scene category. There can only be one.
I don't think there's any other answer. It's Will Vecna the Demogorgon saving Robin, probably Murray, Lucas, and Mike. That's 3 characters in one sitting in, oh my gosh, he's got powers. Oh my gosh, he's raising up into the air. Oh my gosh, he's got Vecna's exact powers. Like, what? Come on.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. It has to be that.
Good.
A little side question for you. Did you think he was going to have to choose 2?
No.
I was dead convinced. I was absolutely convinced that he was going to either have to choose 1 or 2 to save, that he couldn't save all 3, and he was going to have to pick. And I was sitting there going, who is he going to pick?
Right.
Oh my gosh. Obviously Mike. Mike is safe. He has to pick Mike.
Lucas.
So are Robin and Lucas both dead?
Robin's
I don't
dead.
know. But then it's Robin who's the voice in his head in these moments. It's Robin's voice going through.
But come on, he's been friends with Lucas and Mike for forever. So there was 2 things. There was 2 things that made me realize he wasn't going to have to choose. One is they did Mike and Lucas. So because of that weight issue where it's like best friends forever and Robin, who's been recently very important to me, I just felt like the show wasn't going to set it up in that way. But also, the real reason why I didn't think so is because we've been making all of these jokes about 1 hand, 2 hands, all 4 limbs, and I was like, he's got a head, and then he uses the head.
That's very true.
And I said that, like, in jest, but then it happened.
Yeah.
So,
Because I thought, I was 100% convinced he was going to have to pick one.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, he'll save Mike. But then he only used one hand to save Mike. So then I was like, well, now he's got another hand and he can pick somebody else. Who is he going to pick? But then he picked all three. He chose secret option number C.
The head option.
Keep your horses safe. It's the I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse category for best lines. I'm nuts. But I'm not that nuts. Spoiler alert, he was indeed that nuts.
Who said this?
Hopper. When Joyce is sending him down to do the crawl and she's saying, don't try to take on Vecna. Don't do anything. Piece. Come back in one piece. And he's like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And she's like, sure you're not. He's like, I'm nuts, but I'm not that nuts. Well, cut to Hopper revealing the bomb strapped to his chest. He was indeed that nuts.
Also, not sure that would work either, if we're all honest, bud.
I don't know. If he hugs him.
Yeah, but
tackles him to the ground.
Do you remember how many times they pumped him full of lead with a shot-off shotgun and 3 vodka Molotov cocktails? Whatever, it's fine. Okay, I've got more than you this time, which is a big deal because I always lose on figuring out which lines I like best. So there's Max, which is after the end of the live read that we did together to Holly. She says, and personally, I think the use of hot is a bit ironic, but people say I'm too negative. I just think I'm honest.
So good.
All right, going back to the moment we talked about with Steven and Dustin. Good thing we're not too conspicuous, and then they look up at the satellite.
So good.
Another Steve line. The gates are kind of like peanut butter poppers, right? What? The outside is crunchy and tough, but then you bite down on it and it gives way to a gooey, creamy core. Thank you, Steve. Excellent. And then after that, it's Dustin going, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not a bopper. Stop! It's not a bopper. It was just made my wife and I crack up so much. Notably, I will, for our first time, talk about the lack of a line, which is just in the Stranger Things trailer. They have this Vecna line where it says, you're going to help me one last time. And I went back and I rewatched Will Meets Vecna. That line is not said during that entire discourse. So either it was removed, or what I think is more likely, it is being said by Vecna to somebody else. I think in this particular moment to the Mind Flayer, but who knows?
I just realized I have another question.
Okay, go for it.
And now I'm angry about it. Why does Vecna just let Will live?
This is the biggest plot armor moment that the show has ever had, in my opinion. He walks away from Will with Will alive. He doesn't think he's a threat. That's the answer.
Secondly, why does he leave Joyce alive? He throws Joyce.
Yeah.
But he is in the middle of killing a bunch of people.
Right.
And instead of killing her, and she's approaching him and yelling at him and threatening, and he just tosses her aside.
Yeah.
The other people aren't a threat to him either. She's not a threat to him. He's fine. He's getting shot at up the wazoo, and he's fine.
I wonder if it's because...
But he
I wonder if it's because he's still healing. He's still vulnerable, and so he only has a certain amount of time that he feels comfortable being out there. I think really it's plot armor, and the fact that he is... First of all, he throws her to the side. He doesn't really care about her. So I think that there's just a certain disregard about her. So he does do damage. It's just not as much damage as one would think. She's 46 and 5'3". So maybe she should die. Maybe is what he's thinking. But Will is specifically Voldemort would have Avada Kedavra that Harry right then and there. There's nothing helping him. What is happening? So I don't know. Maybe it's just that he's William, not a threat. But who knows? Yeah.
Also, my last thing on the Joyce thing is I did think she was going to die then. I thought that was her moment. She's defending her boy.
And she's been kind of benched, and he's now in the field, and her only purpose for this whole season has been that she's been helicoptering him away from everything.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what they're going to do with the character. I'm excited to see it because I love Joyce and I love Winona Ryder, but we'll see. But I thought so too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dust off that card deck and get ready to shuffle. It's our Joker category for who on earth are we going to pick for MVP of these 4 episodes? Robin Will? Honorable mention. Okay, pound for pound, the Wheeler parents. Honorable mention to Mike, just because he's been great, and I feel like we've done so much Mike hatred that he deserves an honorable mention here. Honorable mention to Holly as well, just for not losing her mind in all of this. LVP for Jonathan specifically, but also kind of Joyce, but more Jonathan, because what has he really done other than be hurt about Steve and not go out of his way to be exactly what Nancy needs and who he is, instead of just competing against Steve's game.
Yeah. He's just been like part of the plan.
That's it. There's been no real Jonathan moment. Maybe, and this is the big thing.
He took over for Dustin and did an okay job about it.
Great. Fantastic. I will say, the fact that these two are benched make me really worried for Will in the second half, because
yeah.
Kind of like when the crawl was like, here's how the crawl goes. And it's like, okay, so that means it's going to go poorly because you're spending so much time telling us beforehand how it goes right instead of showing us. So therefore, it's going to have to go wrong, and we need to know right now what's going on right. And this, I kind of feel it's the same sort of energy for the buyers, where it's like, and Will was benched all last season because he's so important this season. And it's like, Jonathan and Joyce are kind of benched this season so that their part is coming.
Yeah. Yikes.
Who do you want for MVP?
Honestly, we have never done a split MVP. I think we have to, though.
This is like the 2008 NBA All-Star game when they split between Kobe and Shaq because they didn't want to pick, and I just hate it. I'm going to make a case.
Okay, then here it is.
Okay.
It's Will.
Okay, I was just going to say it's Robin. Go for it.
So funny.
Make your Will case.
So I think it's Will because Robin and Will are kind of, the dream team for a little while. They have the plan of figuring out what's going on with what Will is seeing, and they go to the school and they figure it, and they find out where he was, what his vision was of, and that it was Holly he was seeing through the eyes of. They figure out who the next victim is going to be, and then they have some really great moments where they're being slightly more open with each other, and Will is more comfortable asking questions of Robin about relationships and how do you know what's right. And Robin picks up on some hints from Will about Mike, and then is able to then give him the speech, which he then listens to, internalizes, and then acts upon. So I think it's very, very close for Robin, but then it turns into Will taking her advice and then acting upon it. And I think that that's what gives him the edge, is that he does the actionable thing, which impacts the story in the end. She sets him up for it.
Yeah.
But he then follows through.
I could be totally convinced of this, and I don't really see a reason why you're wrong. The argument for Robin, I think, which you've touched upon, is like, okay, so Robin is the person that gives Will the ability to fully realize his powers. Without Robin, we do not get those powers. And it can't, and if Robin was a smaller character, I would say pound for pound, it's Robin. Because of that huge moment. It's very Dr. Clarkian season 1, where it's like, Dr. Clark just gave all this, like, extremely important information that now Dustin gives us in the next couple of seasons instead of Mr. Clark. I will say, there's the whole other side of Robin is that Robin has been entertaining and keeping the spirits up for 500 days before this. Robin has been working as the disc jockey at, for Hawkins. She's a local celebrity at this point. She's rocking Robin. Holly, is so concerned, and she turn on the radio. We gotta listen. It started already. She's just so excited for any of that. And so there's this very intentional community work that Robin has been doing this whole time, which I don't want to go unnoticed. And so that's why I think Robin, it's, first of all, without her, Will doesn't do anything, including save Robin's life.
Yeah.
And if I was arguing that it was Will instead of Robin, I'd be like, okay, we don't have any more Robin without Will.
Yeah.
But also, if Robin had died, I'd be like, this is the last opportunity to give it to Robin, so it's got to be Robin. So I'm leaning a bit towards Robin because of all this good community work that she's doing. Also, like, she sacrificed her date a bunch of time, and she's probably going to die now because she has a date at Enzo's, which you just should never do.
Yeah, this is very true. She's supposed to have a date at Enzo's, which is just, as soon as she said that, I just went, she's not making that date.
Yeah. Never.
I still think it's Will, though.
Okay, we'll give it to Will. But I mark my words. If Will gets it the next episode and Robin dies,
We'll retcon. Deal. Clean your evil lair and get ready for our I was the turkey all along category. What is the biggest takeaway viewers should leave with in preparation for Volume 2 of Stranger Things Season 5?
First and foremost, Will has powers, especially when he's so connected to the hive mind. So the closer he gets to Vecna, the more his powers become. We'll see if that continues with him fully realizing his powers, or if now that he's fully realized them, he just kind of gets to do whatever he wants. Number 2, Vecna wants children, specifically for the Mind Flayer's weird gate opening, whatever's happening there plan, but it's because of how Will broke, in air quotes, so easily when he was taken back 4 years ago. And lastly, Vecna, super afraid of the cave, because that's where he met the Mind Flayer.
Today's public service announcement: never go in caves. They're full of evil and things that make you evil. Provided by the state of Nevada.
Excellent read. I really liked. Thank you for knowing exactly what I meant.
Yep. Thank you, dear listener schmisteners, for listening to this episode of Fandom Schmandom. If you'd like to discuss this episode or any other episode we've done, please hit us up on our social media channels. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Fandom Schmandom Pod and on X at Fandom_Schmandom.
Please don't forget to rate and review us if you like the episode. It really helps the algorithm place us in front of other like-minded schmissioners out there. And with that, we're out, y'all.
Don't forget to tip your clerics.
And fare thee well.
Fandom Schmandom was created by Sam Williams and Sierra Obermark. The show is produced by Aurelia Lieb. The editor is Brittany Fisher. The music is by Jeremiah Alves.
Either the Duther, Harry being the snake is very much Will being the Demodorgon. Great Scott! And Flux Capacitor. There's the...
I was very... Okay, sorry. I'm so overwhelmed with, like, all my thoughts. They're just jumbling.
I know, same. And also the 28th anniversary of the night Henry Queel, and 28th, and again, once run by Bob Nudie. I can do bees, I promise.
It's potentially just really bringing... Oh my gosh. I think that potentially I say potentially a lot in this episode.
Everything's potential.
I mean, yeah. I just need a new word. I need a thesaurus. There are...
Sorry to interrupt you. I just thesaurus potentially and just pasted 35 different words in the doc.
Oh my gosh, you did do 35. You did. I only saw like the first 5. But then I looked over at you and you just had this like I did a thing.
I did funny, yes?
Nice. Keep your horses safe. Oh my god.
Man, you came in with the lowest energy I've ever heard of. Keep your horses safe. It's I'm gonna make him an offer he's going to bed with. It's the I'm gonna make him some tea he can fall asleep to.
I'm gonna
Go
tuck
for
him
it.
in with a little pillow. What just happened?
You know how I opened up a thesaurus?
Yeah.
It took this long to play its automatic ad. And so this like old school alarm bell and some 80s like hip hop just came on. It's like, can I kick? I'm like, where's this coming from? I haven't opened up any new pages. I closed out Clone Wars. Anyways,
Oh my
so
gosh.
sorry.